What a wonderful start, you chuckling in that manner. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. We have an absolutely terrifying nomad. And yes, he has stories of news, and there are things to tell people. And I'm going to put it blunt, some of this stuff is really funny, so you have been warned. Nomad, would you like to regale us with your wonderful news?
So let's start off. Let's start off with a look inside people's brains who say they've had a UFO encounter. Now, you read this, and the first thing I'm wondering is, did you give these people MRIs or did you actually cut open their heads? did you find
Enzor!
did you find the alien transmitter? I mean, I'm just kind of curious. Did you find the alien probes?
Eh? Yep. I
Oh,
think they were going in the wrong end for the alien probes, let's be fair.
oh, okay. A professor has been testing the brains of people who say they've experienced an UFO encounter, and and the symptoms they display, these are the symptoms they display. Dr. Gary
Mm-hmm.
Nolan, a professor of pathology at Stanford University, has published more than 300 research articles and holds 400 U.S. patents, and has spent the past decade analyzing materials from alleged UFOs, unidentified aerial phenomenon, or UAP. Now,
Mm-hmm.
UAP versus UFO, we had to change the thing.
Mm-hmm.
Unidentified flying
Uh,
object to unidentified aerial phenomenon.
yeah.
All right.
Yeah, no, dude. It's a pathologist doing this. At what part does that strike you as slightly dodgy?
I, we'll continue. Speaking to Vice's motherboard, Nolan opened up about his work and revealed what sparked his interest in UFOs. I'm going to say UFOs, I'm not saying UAP.
I
Nolan,
don't blame you.
who admitted to being an avid reader of science fiction, said his interest took flight when he reached out to a man named Stephen Greer, who claimed a small skeleton was possibly an alien. It was eventually revealed that the skeleton was human, as it had a number of mutations in the skeletal genes that could potentially explain the biology, Nolan explained. Nolan published a paper titled Whole Genome Sequencing Atacam Skeleton Shows Novel Mutations Linked to Dysplasia, all right, which led the professor to be contacted by people linked to the CIA and various aeronautical corporations. His involvement with UFOs began after he was asked to use his blood analysis instrumentation to help with cases of pilots who were close to alleged UFOs and horrible brain damage.
Yeah.
When asked if he could describe the more abnormal effects on the brain observed by the MRIs, Nolan said, if you ever looked at an MRI of somebody with multiple sclerosis, there's something called white matter disease. It's scarring. It's a big white blob or multiple white blobs scattered throughout the MRI. It's essentially dead tissue where the immune system has attacked the brain, he continued. That possibly is the closest thing that you would come to if you wanted to look at a snapshot of one of these individuals. You could pretty quickly see that there's something wrong.
Yeah.
Okay. So what this guy is saying is that these people who have UFOs on the brain are diseased.
Yes. Yes, that's exactly what he's saying, which says a lot, really, doesn't it?
One too many hits to the head, right? Oh, is that what we're dealing with?
Oh no, no. A more accurate statement is not enough hits to the head. They just needed that one.
It's just one too many pinky shots. Is that what we're doing?
From Miss Murder, I see brain images. Are we talking lobotomies? No, we're actually talking about chainsaw brain surgery. Okay, I just added the word chainsaw because I just like the idea.
Well, I mean, they have handheld chainsaws now.
I,
Little,
yeah,
I did.
I'm telling
I
you.
did see an ad for a handheld, right, cordless train saw. Right, that's about 3 inches in diameter. That cuts wood about 3 inches in diameter. So,
Of course, the question is what's it like at cutting bone? That's what they forget to mention for some strange reason.
do 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 do, do, do it yourself. Dememberment kit comes with a chart,
Yeah.
DVD to show you how it's done. Is that what you're thinking, Jenson?
What? I'm just thinking that they bring out a cooking video. That's all.
If you're gonna cook some people, here are some people to cook. In the
Oh god, yeah.
no shit category, conflicted Congress. Key findings from insiders' 5-month investigation into federal lawmakers' personal finances. Really?
Yeah.
Really? You found that these people are freaking screwed up. The nation is unabashedly polarized. Republicans and Democrats enjoy little goodwill and less commonality. But in Washington, D.C., a bipartisan phenomenon is thriving. Numerous members of Congress, both liberal and conservative, are united in their demonstrated indifference toward a law designated to quash corruption and curb conflicts of interest. Really?
Mm-hmm.
According to the
Um,
article, 48 members of Congress, 182 senior level staff members have violated a federal conflicts of interest law. Nearly 75 lawmakers held stocks in COVID-19 vaccine makers Moderna and Johnson or Pfizer in 2020, with many of them buying or selling these stocks in the early weeks of the pandemic.
so, I actually wouldn't want to eat any of these people. I don't want to catch anything toxic from them. Just saying.
15 lawmakers tasked with shaping U.S. defense policy that actively invest in military contractors. Now, there's a number of words here. More than a dozen environmentally minded Democrats who invest in fossil fuel companies. Members who regularly chide the media but personally pour their money into at least one of the nation's largest news media or social media companies like Facebook, Twitter, Disney, or the New York Times.
Yeah.
No shit, folks. No, nothing against these people, but you're not gonna. Why? Okay, here's a question. Why aren't you specifically, all right, calling these people and saying why are these criminals getting away with it? If they're breaking the law, you should be able to point it out. You said that 48 members of Congress are breaking the law, okay?
Mm-hmm.
But okay, then where is it? Where's the 182 senior level congressional staffers? Why aren't they all being named?
Don't you realise the law only applies to us peasants, not to the superior beings?
So
My
you
God.
have these people making these accusations, but then you hide the fact of who they are, all right?
Yes.
To a large extent, all right?
Yes.
Now you sit up there and go danger, and you show Pat Fallon and then Dianne Feinstein. All right. Well, nobody knows who Pat Fallon is, so he's a nobody.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Yeah.
But then you have Dianne Feinstein, right?
Mm-hmm.
So then you show borderline Mitch McConnell and Nancy Pelosi. Nancy Pelosi isn't borderline. If you looked at her finances and what she's done on a consistent basis, it should be as red as frickin' Dianne Feinstein's. People
Mm-hmm.
forget. People, you gotta be absolutely ignorant to say that the same things that you're accusing, all right, Dianne Feinstein of that wasn't directly engaged in by Nancy Pelosi. In the same way,
Yeah.
right? By giving money to their husbands.
Yeah.
There's a number of things that she's done. So you're hiding that. Mitch McConnell, if you wanted to go after Mitch McConnell, start with your drug laws. I'm serious. Right?
Yeah.
Because his wife has been engaged in some pretty nefarious crap with cocaine trafficking. Now you can say that that's not him, that's his wife. Either way, he should be out of there.
Yeah.
Didn't you show freaking John Ossoff and Liz Cheney? Please. You know, these are. This is what the media does. If you want to know what the media is like, this is what the media is. Key official to testify in Nolan daughter licensing inquiry. Lawmakers in South Dakota will hear Tuesday from a former state employee at the center of questions over whether Governor Kristi Noem used her influence to aid her daughter's application for a real estate appraiser's license. Boy, man, that's a hell of a scandal, ain't it? That's national level news from the AP.
Oh yeah. Oh
Right?
yeah.
Now, why are they doing this? Because she's a well-known figure in the quote-unquote conservative movement, and we got to go after her with anything and everything. We're going to throw a slander out there that is absolutely specious. All right? She held a meeting a week after the state refused to give her daughter an appraiser certification. And then they changed it, and then later on she was able to apply again. And then she got it. Oh, the humanity. Really?
You should have got 25 to life, you know it.
This committee's inquiry has been going on for 2 months. All right, it's the same shit that they're doing with the January 6th thing. They're just dragging it out and dragging it out and dragging it out. And they continue to drag it out because all they want to do is throw mud at conservatives.
Yeah.
And when they've got to throw mud at a liberal, all right, they hide it. They hide it by saying, see, the Republicans are doing it too, which is what the whole purpose of the Insider was. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
If you were trying to take down someone in power, Dianne Feinstein is the most powerful person, aside from Nancy Pelosi, the two of the most powerful women in Congress today, and you bring up nobody as a result. But you throw some kind of shade toward Mitch McConnell. Like Mitch McConnell was a quote-unquote conservative to begin with, right? Everybody, there's not anybody that likes Mitch McConnell. Right?
Clarify. That's the guy that looks like a tortoise, isn't it?
Yeah, he's a turtle.
Okay, cool. Just want to make sure I had the right person.
And then you claim that Liz Cheney is clean as the wind-driven snow. You know, Cheney. The ones you guys accused of going to war in Iraq because because of Halliburton, right? Even though he gave up all the Halliburton stock and gave up all connection to Halliburton prior to going in, it still wasn't good enough. He was doing it at their behest. He was doing it for himself.
Him. Was he the guy that wasted the dude he went out with when they went hunting?
He did have a hunting accident where he shot his friend in the face with a shotgun, but apparently it wasn't very severe. All right, number one. And
so he survived. I thought the bloke died.
No,
my bad.
No, he didn't kill anybody.
Okay. Do you want to mention the fact that this friend was wearing like an orange suit, so he was really, really kind of visible, or do we keep that a bit quiet?
Have you ever hunted pheasant?
Not while wearing something that glows in the dark. No.
Okay. Okay. A hunting pheasant, for those who don't know, is first of all, in Nebraska, there's a bird called the ring-tailed pheasant. Okay.
Hmm?
And what you do is you walk on the edges of fields where the grass, where there's grass, on the edge of roads and then the edge of these fields, right, where the grass is, right, and it's thick
Mm-hmm.
grass. Okay, it comes up to up to your past your knees. Okay. Now, the ring-tailed pheasant, for those who don't know, right, is not native to America. Okay, it's an invasive species from China. Now,
Yeah, bloody Chinese.
it's a tasty invasive species from China. Okay.
Are you telling me that that's basically a flapping Chinese meal? Good to know.
They're kind of cool. Have you ever seen a picture of a ring-tailed pheasant? Let's do it.
No, no, no. I don't think I have.
Let me,
I've seen pheasants, but not ring-tailed ones.
or ring-necked rather. I'm sorry, ring-necked
Mm.
pheasants.
And hey, memes. I reckon he's just turning up in the hope of seeing that so-called brownie. I'm still not going to call it a brownie. It's a so-called brownie.
This is the so-called brownie. Alright. This is a ring-necked pheasant. For
Oh,
this.
yeah, I've seen one then.
Right.
Yep.
Now, they're beautiful birds in a way, right?
Yeah.
But these things will literally, while you're hunting them, unless you're used to it, will scare the holy crap out of you. Because
Mm.
you're walking along with your mates, having a chit chat, you almost step on one, and 5 fly up in your face. And I mean right up in your face.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? When you're dealing with loaded shotguns, alright, and one of these things flies up in your face, believe it or not, people pull the trigger.
Yeah.
Alright? Not at the bird, but it scares them because they've got their fingers on the trigger. This is why you don't put your fingers on the trigger. Now, these things, when they erupt out of the ground, and then they fly, but they don't fly high in the air. They fly low to the ground, and they weave back and forth. They're not easy to hit.
Mm-hmm.
All right? But when you're hunting,
Yep.
this is what happens, is these things will fly, and even people who are avid hunters, right, get shocked by these things. And people who
Yeah.
go out all the time, they have shotgun accidents. It's something that happens every single year. Right? For those who don't know, every single year people die from these things. Right? because their friends, because their quote unquote friends shoot them in the face. Right? So.
That still tickles me. Mm-hmm.
But yeah, there are other type of grouse is another one. Quail is another one. Quails do pretty much the same thing, right?
Yeah.
But they taste good. I will admit that they are a tasty treat. they are worth eating, right?
Hmm.
But you have to do it
By the way, Matt has actually said that we should call it brownie of colour.
a brownie of color.
Yes.
I don't think Memes may be looking for the pot brownie now because he's still hungry, but I think the pot brownie's gone. The 300-pound pot brownie, freaking hippie. Yes, I'm talking about you, Memes. You freaking hippie. No, it's a joke, folks. It's a joke. All right.
I don't know. If you define hippie, we're talking a pot-smoking dude with long hair. Am I talking memes or a hippie here?
You could be talking Doku.
Good point. Okay. Doku, you're a hippie as well. There you go.
Didn't I call Doku a hippie the other day?
You did. You did.
So there you go. On to the next story. The spy who drove me. Billionaire Vladimir Putin admits he moonlighted as a taxi driver after the collapse of the Soviet Union. Vladimir Putin has revealed that he moonlighted as a taxi driver after the fall of the Soviet Union. The now billionaire Russian president said the economic turmoil in the early 1990s triggered a collapse that forced him and others to seek new ways to make ends meet. Putin said the collapse of the Soviet Union spelled the end of historical Russia. All right, and the disintegration 3 decades ago remains a tragedy for most citizens. The former KGB agent, all right, made his comments in a upcoming documentary by broadcaster Channel 1 dubbed Russia Recent History. In it he said, after all, what is the collapse of the Soviet Union? It is the collapse of historical Russia under the name of the Soviet Union.
I bet you, absolutely nobody is alive right now that thought that they could jump out of his cab and run off without paying. Okay? Just saying. Alright? They're sitting at home going, ha ha, I got away with it, and a fucking polar bear gets dropped on their head. You know it and I know
it. You don't think there's going to be anybody that admitted to, ride and dash, you know?
Not if they expect to survive till the next day, no.
A loyal servant of the Soviet Union, Putin was dismayed when it fell apart, calling the collapse one of the greatest geopolitical disasters of the 20th century. Putin is sensitive to perceived expansion of Western military ambitions in ex-Soviet countries. In the past few days, he has demanded that NATO formally scrap the 2008 decision to open its doors to Georgia and the Ukraine. Okay, now, to be honest, okay, end NATO. End NATO now.
I have never disagreed.
You want to put a stop to this nonsense? End NATO.
Mm-hmm.
If demand our president, demand the United States remove itself, all right, from NATO. This is not a difficult decision.
No.
Okay? End it. End it today.
Mm-hmm.
I have no problems with that. I literally have no problems with ending NATO now. Now, is it gonna fix things for the Ukrainians? No, it's not. Okay, is it gonna fix things in that area? No. But we don't need to get involved in a war here. All right, all because a bunch of freaking Germans, right, are not willing to actually stand up for their best interests, expecting the United States to cover for their freaking malfeasance. That's just not. It's time we sit up there and said, you know what, stand.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
Because whether you like it or not, the statements Putin made, while provocative, aren't wrong. Okay? With the exception of the Baltic states, historical Russia did include the Ukraine. It did include Belarus.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? And we're talking for literally hundreds of years. Not just a couple hundred, but we're talking like 300-400 years. Now, you can make an argument about Soviet Georgia if you want, right, as being part of Western Azerbaijan and part of the Habsburg Empire and things like that, if you want.
Yeah.
But you can't say that about the Ukraine. You can't say that about the Crimea.
Huh?
The British went to war in the Crimea in what, the 1830s, 1850s?
That, yeah.
That's how long the Russians, that was against Russia. That wasn't the Soviet Union didn't even exist then. Right? And I'm not saying that people have to like this. I'm not saying that the Russian Empire, which was also a polyglot empire, meaning you had multiple languages that were spoken. Georgians speak their own language, yes.
Then again, let's be fair, mate. Even in your country, Georgians speak their own language.
Yeah.
Just saying.
There's a lot to be said for that, yes. Right. But Putin's not necessarily wrong. That doesn't mean that I'm supporting Putin's expansion, right? Especially in the Ukraine, which has always been uniquely culturally separate. The problem, though, and this is something I tried to point out to Dodge and point out to everybody, is when you form a cultural group, just because if you don't have defensible borders, guess what? You're not a culture. You're a subculture. Deal with it. All right. just just letting you know. Right. Just so you understand.
My comment seems to have got Falcon's attention.
Oh.
I can't think why.
But no, the thing about this is that this. So you do a story about how Vlad, right, drove a taxi.
Mm-hmm.
Are you trying to make him sound like an everyman guy? It's like a redemption arc for Vladimir Putin, right?
Yeah.
I mean, let's be honest. It's a redemption arc, right?
True.
Gunshot injured Dante Wright's heart and lungs, said a medical examiner. A medical examiner testified Monday that the bullet shot by former police officer Kim Potter caused the death of Dante Wright earlier this year in Minnesota, causing damage to his heart and lungs. Yeah, bullets have a tendency to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just putting that out there. All right. The Hennepin County Assistant Medical Examiner Dr. Lauren Jackson was the first person to testify in Potter's manslaughter trial on Monday in the KMSP TV in Minneapolis reported. He said that though there were high levels of THC from marijuana, well, you don't know where it's from. All right, all you know is there was high levels of THC in Wright's system.
True.
It didn't play a role in his death. Far and away, the gunshot wound to the chest was the most significant injury. Yeah, people don't smoke weed and just go thud. It's just not one of those common occurrences.
No. Come on, Nomad. Let's be fair. We don't know that the bullet wasn't actually a joint. Perhaps the bullet was actually mounted in the joint was actually mounted in the bullet and shot into his heart. So therefore, yes, it would have been the THC, but boy, that's rather an extreme version.
Okay. Potter shot Wright in the chest on April 11th during a traffic stop. She was an officer of the Brooklyn Center Police Department when she pulled Wright over for an expired registration on his vehicle and an air freshener hanging from his rear view mirror. Okay. Why do I have a feeling that this guy caught her attention by doing something else?
Yeah.
Right? Just putting it out there. Right. Another officer then attempted to arrest Wright on an outstanding firearms warrant, at which point he attempted to re-enter his vehicle. She shot him to death. Potter said she meant to use her taser on him, but she grabbed her firearm instead. She pled not guilty to one count each of first-degree manslaughter and second-degree manslaughter. Okay. It's, the person says he noted that a firearm weighs 2.2 pounds and a taser weighs 0.94 pounds. So, what does that mean? All right. When you're excitable, okay, believe me, you don't even notice it. Okay? You don't notice the weight. It's not one of the things that's going to trigger in your brain to go, hey, I grabbed the wrong thing. I have said this many times, okay?
Yeah.
People do stupid things and they shouldn't have tasers because tasers, there's very few instances where tasers are truly effective. And even with a criminal crawling into a car, that's an issue, right? But I'm going to say something else right now. This guy, Dante, would be alive if he didn't try to crawl back into his car and try to escape.
Yeah.
And this guy got back into his car to try and escape simply because, let's be honest here, he was dealing with women and thought he could get away.
Yeah. Now, a question for you, because again, different countries. I realise that things are done by state over there. I know this, but basically, how big must that air freshener have been dangling from his rearview mirror to have got the policeman's attention enough to pull him over?
That's not
That proves there must have been something else. That, or the fact that there was a 4x4 bloody air freshener in the car. Okay, just saying.
There's a lot of things that could cause this, but the biggest thing is obviously he went over a line. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe he pulled out and squealed tires. Okay.
Yeah.
Police officers are like everybody else. When you're driving on the road, you don't see people unless you're actively trying to look inside of vehicles. Okay? What you see are vehicles.
Yeah.
Okay? If a vehicle does something, then you look inside the car.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Let's be perfectly honest. To confirm your biases or not, right? If you see somebody doing something stupid in the car, the first thing you think of is, that goes in your mind is you look in the car to see if it's that stupid woman that you know is a bad driver, right? only to find out it looks like just a regular old guy until you see the fact that he's Asian. But it's a joke. It's a joke, folks. Right?
Apart from that, you can't take the mickey out of the Asians now. Officially, they're now considered white. Didn't you know?
Oh, are they?
Oh yeah, yeah.
They
actually are no longer people of colour. They are white.
Okay.
Enjoy that concept.
So they dipped them in bleach? Is that what you're saying?
I guess.
They followed Trump's advice and they dipped them in bleach. It's a joke, folks. These are jokes. You can laugh. Really. It'll be okay. Or you can cringe like most people are going, oh my God, rolling their eyes. But this woman, look, if you think you can get away from a woman, right? What's she gonna do? She can't, this guy's probably thinking along the lines in his drug-induced haze, right? That she can't do shit to me, right?
Yeah.
And was she reaching for a taser? Probably. But in her mind, that's not how you're trained. Okay? You're not going to train people to first reach for a taser.
No.
Right? That's not how they're trained. And in a crisis situation where she says, I've got to do something, she's not... how much a firearm weighs and everything else. Well, they're trained to be calm and remain calm. Folks.
Oh, shit.
It doesn't work that way. Right. Anybody that's been on a battlefield understands that. Are there people that can do that? Yes. Are they the average person? No.
Oh, hell no.
You will run into them from time to time, all right? There are people that at that time can set aside their entire mental outlook in life. Right?
Yeah.
They are few and far between. Do they exist? Yes. But in this case, this person would be alive if they just would have obeyed the police. How come we're not coming back saying, you know what, this guy, the very first thing should be said, would this person be alive if he obeyed the police officers? This comes down to, do you want to stay alive or do you want to end up dead in a morgue? Even if you think that this woman's a racist pig, okay, Dante would have been alive if he'd obeyed the police.
Yeah.
Dante made a bad decision that increased his chances of dying, and he did. And anybody who disobeys the police, don't get me wrong, that the police could be violating your rights, take it up in court. That's the proper spot.
Hmm.
We're not gonna
Let's be
get
honest,
we're not
Dave.
gonna get justice. You're not gonna
Let
get justice. You're gonna be end up you're gonna get a you can get a box for this.
let's be honest. Chris Rock said it right with that video about when not to do stupid with the cops. Okay, I agree with that completely, mate. I really do.
On to the next story. No, but it's true.
Yes, sir.
You are correct. You are correct. Look, be
Hmm.
polite. Don't mouth off at the police. It isn't a matter of color. Believe me or not. You can believe me or not. Right? If you're upfront with the police, if you don't do stupid things, the police generally don't want to harass you because it's a pain in the ass for them too.
Yes.
Understand this, okay? There are rules that the police office does. All right. For example, they order police officers to issue so many tickets. Now, they will use things like comments like, "Well, we don't have a quota on the number of tickets, but we have an expectation of
Hmm.
of uh, of usage of tickets. So when it falls below that, we think there's a problem." In other words,
Yeah.
if we don't see you writing enough tickets, we think that we expect you to write.
Yeah.
An expectation of productivity. That's the thing, right? They think it's productive. But they wouldn't have expectations of productivity and quotas if the police like to do paperwork. Nobody likes paperwork, okay? They are not looking to go bust people because it means they've got to do paperwork.
Yeah.
It means they've got to appear in court. They've got to sit and create a court date. Now, I grant you that's part of their job, okay? But anybody that's got a job, anybody that's been in the military and that was their job, knows that nobody likes doing paperwork. Do you have to do it? Yeah. Does it need to get done? Yeah. Is it important? Eh, more or less. Okay. Does that mean you like to do it? No.
Oh
Okay.
God, no.
You want to piss people off about paperwork in the military? You want to know the easiest way to do it? Right? Walk up to the arms room guy, right, and go, "Hey, we found these extra rounds."
No, 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 no. Don't do that.
All right, and I'm turning them in. You'll be lucky if you get out of there with it without getting butt stroked. Come off the
Oh,
range and sit up there and say you have extra rounds. Go ahead.
yeah. Oh, that's going to go so well.
All right, you laugh. I mean, it's funny, but it's true, right?
Yeah.
At the end, when they go on a range, all right, you first got to familiarize yourself. You go through, your zeroing in of your weapon, and then you go in and you fire for your qualification, right?
Yep.
And in when I was in, it was every 6 months. This was required of the entire army every 6 months, right? Other units could have
Hmm.
higher standards, but ours was every 6 months. And they have to lay out so many rounds for zeroing your weapon. Well, once you zero your weapon, you're most likely not going to need to zero your weapon again. Really,
Yeah.
or it's not going to take you nearly as many rounds to re-zero your weapon if you know if you're just a regular person, right?
Yeah.
So the number of rounds that they lay on is always more than they had than what is used during the range, right? And
Yeah.
so instead of bringing all that back, what they end up doing at the end of every single range I've ever been on is they have a free fire event where they take the extra rounds and light up targets, right?
Yeah.
Where you just go out there and start having, they put up targets to let you go, shoot them up, boys. It's just so they can get rid of the extra rounds, right? Every single
Oh
time it's the
no.
same thing, right?
And don't people just hate being able to just let loose?
Oh,
It's terrible for them.
they're able to put it on full auto and you know which when you're trying to qualify with an M16, you're not going to qualify with full auto, but with the fact that you can go full auto finally, people have fun, right?
Oh yeah.
This happens. I mean, it's the way it is. I don't understand why people get upset about this kind of stuff. And unfortunately, I hate to say this, but there's other things that happen because of this too, right? When extra rounds like that are found that were supposed to be expended, let's be honest, the paperwork involved in taking back ammo is massive. So they hate doing it, right?
Yeah.
That's why they do stuff like this. It's also why at the end of the day, right, quote unquote, military grade munitions end up on the black market. Right? Well, we were expecting during this exercise to throw 15 grenades. I'm just using a number out there, right? Instead, we threw 13.
Yeah.
So there's 2 grenades left
Yeah.
over. What do you do with them? Well, we threw 15 grenades. What about the 2 in
Yeah.
your backpack? There aren't 2 in my backpack. We threw
Nope.
15 grenades. That's what happens, right?
Yeah.
When people are doing demolitions, this is how we're supposed to detonate 500 pounds of C4, right? Did you detonate 500 pounds of C4? Yep. Why does your truck look a little low?
No reason. No reason. Nothing happened. Don't look.
Why does your backpack look like it's got about 4 pounds of C4 in it? I don't know. It happens. All right? I know it happens. All right? But the main reason it happens is not because of these people trying to steal. The main reason it happens is because this stuff is left over and was supposed to be expended. And they say, well, instead of expending it, I'll just take it home. Normally to kill the wife, the kids, or someone else in the family member who gets a hold of it. That's generally what happens with these idiots. Okay? I'm just telling you how. Every now and then, I know you saw the same thing, Jenson. Especially in EOD. I'm sure you heard about it all the time.
It's sort of, you're saying about how tasers are not much use. Let's be completely honest. They're actually incredibly useful if the other person's carrying C4. At that point, the taser becomes really, really good. Much better than any bullet you care to mention.
Okay, let's talk about C4 for a moment, folks. C4 is an awesome explosive. And why do I say it's an awesome explosive? Because it is, for the most part, so damn stable. You can play with it, you can mold it, you can create little bunnies out of it, right? You can, if you get it warm, it's sticky, so you can stick it to walls, right?
Yep.
It's an amazing substance.
It has one other thing you forgot to mention, by the way, Nomad. It's really, really good at causing heart attacks. Or it is if when people are sitting around a campfire and you throw a pack of it into the middle of the campfire and you watch them all scream and run like girls. And you calmly walk over, pick it up and walk off with it. It's so fun doing that.
C4, you can light it on fire. It'll sit there and just burn. Okay? You can light your cigarettes with it.
Yep.
Okay? It's that stable.
Yeah.
Unless you hit it. If it's on fire and you hit it, then it'll detonate. It's the shock that will cause it. And it's got to be a significant shock. Okay? Yeah. Your hands aren't going to generate enough energy to actually set it off. Okay?
No.
But which sets off the chain reaction of the molecules. But it's an awesome substance in that regard. This is why you need a blasting cap to set C4 off. All right?
Yeah.
Now, you mentioned a taser. Could a taser set it off? Possibly. All right. It would depend on a number of things. But as the electrical bolt goes through, that spark, could it be generated enough initial energy as far as heat and shock at that point to start the cascade? Yeah, it's possible. All right. It's not very likely, to be honest, but it's possible. Okay,
Yeah.
which is why like they use if you really want to make sure it goes off, you have to use a blasting cap. But it's a hell of a substance. It really and its propagation is damn near instantaneous.
Yeah.
Okay, I mean it is. It's not like deck cord. You can watch deck cord go, right? You won't watch C4 go. C4 goes up once.
No.
Boom.
Yeah.
It's gone. and
Yeah.
it, and there are pieces of it left. That's the other thing about it. If you use C4, all you get are the after residue. You don't get pieces of C4. Small little bits of C4 laying around.
Mm-hmm.
It's really neat stuff.
Good stuff. Really is.
It's really a hell of an explosive. Much better than Semtex. It really is much better than
Yeah.
people don't understand this. Now, making C4 is quite interesting, but because
Yeah, whoa. I don't think you need to go into too much on that. Okay?
I was just going to mention that one of the processes of making C4 is going through C2, but that's all.
Okay. Yeah, I know this is free speech and all that lot, but that's something that. Okay.
So C2 is a much less stable version of C4. And when I mean much less stable, I'm saying if you've wrapped it up and drop it, you could kill yourself.
I can practically shout loud enough and it goes bang. What are you talking about?
Yeah, it's dangerous. It's dangerous stuff.
Yeah.
It's not as dangerous as nitro, but it's pretty damn close. Right? Next story. Person of the year. Elon Musk. Times Person of the Year. And they got such a wonderful photo of the man.
Yeah.
Doesn't it look like he... Look at him with that little scraggly fuzz on his face. That little hipster do pull back for the hair. Boy, this just screams elegance.
Well, it screams something, but yes.
This just screams role model of the century, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And this guy just a few weeks ago came up and told everybody at his SpaceX company that they're headed for bankruptcy.
Yeah. Let's be honest, though. Okay, Time magazine certainly lost its appeal for Person of the Year when back in 1930, Mumble, they had a certain Austrian as Man of the Year.
Well,
just saying.
But he was someone that was changing the world.
This is true.
Whether we like it or
One
not.
jackboot at a time.
Maybe, but he did do it. You gotta admit that.
I can't disagree. Yeah, that part is fair.
Okay, I mean they are in love with dictatorial loons.
Mm-hmm.
Right? They always have been. But I'm not. And to be honest, I'm not saying Elon Musk is a dictatorial loon. But what is Elon Musk going to be known for? Quite frankly, 30 years from now.
Robot cars and spaceships. That's it.
I don't think he's going to be known for anything.
Fair?
I hate to say this. You can sit up there and say that he's going to be, electric cars, blah. I'm just gonna say it. The guy, and I'm gonna be real blunt, right? The guy's a parasite, right? And I mean that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The guy got his money from the taxpayers. If it wasn't for the subsidies given to Teslas wouldn't be on the road today. And I mean subsidies. I don't mean tax breaks. I mean subsidies. There's a huge difference here, folks, between a subsidy and a tax break. A tax break doesn't take money out of my pocket. Subsidies do. And for every Tesla that rolls out there, there's a governmental subsidies from the federal government going into this guy's pocket. Now they may eventually cross over. I don't know. The one thing that he did do right is he made a very fast car, and he made it, a sports car kind of thing that people want to buy sports cars, right? So he could charge, high-end rates. And the super rich, they're all into that. Okay, they're not into. They're into it from a status perspective, not whether or not this damn thing runs.
One thing that Matt has said: he's terrible, but the left hates him, so maybe he's not all that bad. I agree with that.
They hate him as much as they hate Jeff Bezos because he has money and he's not giving it to the ones that hate him are the leftists who aren't on his take, that haven't taken money from him.
There,
right. So, but he's, with all due respect to Elon Musk, I mean, the guy is a flash in the pan kind of person as far as I'm concerned. Did he make his money off the government? Yeah, he made his money off the government and off the people, but he's not going to be remembered, in my opinion, as someone that was worthy of Time Magazine's Person of the Year or Man of the Year or anything else, right? And I don't care. It's not that I really care about who is the Man of the Year either. Afghans marry off baby girls for dowries as starvation looms. Yeah. Who was it? I believe it was you, Jenson, that said that America goes anywhere there's oil.
What?
What oil is in Afghanistan?
Probably not much, actually. Let's be completely honest. I mean, to break it right down, probably not that much.
All right. Jobless and engulfed in debt, Afghan brick kiln worker Fazil said the country's imploding economy had left him with a stark choice: marrying off his young daughters or risk the family starving to death. Last month he received a $3,000 dowry payment for handing over his 13 and 15-year-old daughters to men more than twice their age. If the money runs out, he may have to marry off his 7-year-old daughter. Do I need to go further, folks? For all of you people who want to bitch about this, right? Who want to bitch about America being in Afghanistan, this wasn't going on while we were there.
Huh?
You can say that we needed to leave. You can say we never should have been there. You can make all those claims, which is, in my opinion, is completely wrong. We did need to be there.
Mm-hmm.
Not necessarily because of this. But this mentality is what led to 9/11. And it's going to lead to it again. They're going to convince these idiots, all right, that the reason that they're starving to death, all right, after they have, sent their 7-year-olds into slavery, in a sex slave, is because America won't give them something. America took it from them. Just like every fucking leftist, pardon my language, says and complains about America. Oh, no, America's bad. America did all this to the world. We're messing around in these areas because we don't need to be. 9/11. Well, it wouldn't have happened if we weren't just... It would have happened, folks.
Yeah.
America wasn't messing around in Afghanistan. During the Afghan War, the Civil War, America served there and gave arms, and they funded these people, and they helped these people fight the Soviet Union. And if we just didn't do that, what? You have a problem with giving arms to people who are fighting the Soviet Union? Well, it's come back to bite. It's come back to bite us. Well, you didn't want us to get involved in them, right? In Afghanistan, we did exactly what everybody said. Help the good guys, right? Supposedly the ones fighting our enemies, the Soviet Union, which were the big enemy. And then we left it to their own devices so that they could sit to put together a rational, reasonable country.
Yep.
Because they're rational, reasonable people, don't you know? There's rational, reasonable people around the world. Most of the world doesn't like the United States because of what the United States does. It's not because they're irrational thugs. No, democracy flourishes around the friggin' world. All these people who whine and cry about the people America killed. We killed millions in Iraq, and we killed millions, and look at what it's done. You just killed millions of people. Oh, really? We killed millions? Millions, huh? Funny, doesn't seem to have made a dent in any of them, has it?
You know, I was fighting not to say we haven't killed enough. I really was, but you know what? I'm going to say it. And I think this news proves that we didn't kill enough of them. Quite simply. If we did, this ship is a damn sight less likely to be occurring. And if we were still over there, it wouldn't be occurring. But it is, because we've left. And the people that left are assholes.
We went in with the wrong attitude. And this is the problem with this.
Yeah.
If you wanted to go in with the right attitude, what we should have done is said, yeah, we're in charge. Not, we're trying to rebuild the country. No, we're in charge. You will obey us. You will do what we tell you. You will live like we want you to. You can worship however you want. That's one of our codes. But if you go, we're going to wipe out your village. Okay? All right? You understand this. You're going to act like civilized human beings until you understand the value of civilization. Because that's what it comes down to. Until you start to appreciate, holy shit, I like the fact that there's medical care for my children. I like the fact that they know how to read, they know how to write. I like the fact that, hey, they've got a stable job. And they're not in the opium fields. But you have to go in with the attitude you're going to that they're going to do what you tell them or else. And I understand. Well, you can't tell them how to live their lives. Oh, yes, you can, because that's how. To be honest, that's the only thing they know.
Mm-hmm.
The first thing that happens for people who have never had, honest to God, the first thing that happens, and I can attest to this, because it's part of the military mindset too. When you come out of the military, the first thing that starts to happen is you start to go, who makes these decisions?
Mm-hmm.
And when people point at you, you're like, oh. Right? Oh. Okay, how do I do all this stuff? Where's the stuff? And that's just coming out of the military. For a group of people in a society like this, where they're always told what to do, where they're always told how to live, you go in there and say, okay, you live however you want. They immediately go, well, who's supposed to tell us what to do?
Yeah.
You've got to sit up there and get people, you've got to teach them to stand up for themselves and take accountability and responsibility for themselves. And that right there is an alien concept to the Islamic code, folks. Understand this. Personal accountability is not something that's written throughout the Quran and stressed in the Quran. Just putting it out there. These people are starving to death now. Where's the Grand UN? Where are all these people that were decrying what we were there for? You're going to tell me? Well, I mean, didn't they just say that this leaves room for Russia and China to sit there and go in there? Well, why isn't Russia and China stopping this? Where's India? Why isn't India trying to feed them? Well, because they're trying to feed themselves. But I mean, aside from that, their population being so low.
Yeah.
I'm not saying America needs to be the policeman of the world, right? But we were attacked by these folks, and we should have made it a colony until they were ready to act like human beings, and they're not.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I mean civilized human beings. Nope.
And Christ, you did it with the Japanese. What's wrong with doing it over
We
there?
did it with the Germans.
Fair,
Okay.
yeah.
People think that our integration of the Germans into the world economy was something that was nice and sweet. No, it wasn't. It was brutal.
Mm-hmm.
When you order, right, everybody in a village at gunpoint to march for whatever reason you want, it's not all sweetness and light. And we did that. And we marched them right through Dachau. All right. To show them what was going on in the thing.
Yeah.
But we did it. We took the entire town and marched them through. Everybody.
Yay, day out. No? Oh, okay.
Well, that's what, a lot of them were, they weren't afraid of the Americans because they didn't think they were going to get shot. But then again, they didn't try to run either.
True.
We could have rounded them up in freaking boxcars. Think about it. We had the capabilities, what I meant.
And let's be fair,
you understand my point.
They had the rail tracks directly to these places. Could have used it. Just saying. Or is that too soon?
Anyway. From the Babylon Bee, a parody site, folks. Yes, ladies and gentlemen. The new Christmas cartoon for us all. Rudolph changes his name to Rolanda and dominates the female reindeer games. Yes, from the North Pole, Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer received praise for taking a stunning and brave stance against outdated binary gender stagnation by changing his name to Rolanda and subsequently dominating every field in the North Pole's annual female reindeer games. Rolanda is a shining beacon for young female reindeer in more ways than one, stated the president of the North Pole Reindeer Games Committee, Bob Chairman. She has shattered records in every event she entered, which says so much about the physical potential of all female reindeer. Rolanda, the red-nosed reindeer, did indeed break records in all events for the female reindeer games, including sleigh pull, flying, landing, oat bag toss, gingerbread house trampling, and the giant slalom. She struggled in the final event, the female reindeer games ice dancing, performing far worse than all other female competitors. Judges still awarded her the gold medal for being so stunning and brave.
The worst thing is you could see that happening, couldn't you?
Then this. For Christmas, get the doll that will shame and terrify your children about climates. God, Greta on a shelf.
Here it is. Mm-hmm.
The Babylon Bee, folks. The Babylon Bee. You gotta admit that that's a crazy world, man. It's a freaking crazy world.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Now, this next story, folks, if you want to know okay. Let's be perfectly honest here, right? If you don't want boys to be boys, don't hire sluts for teachers. Okay? Understand
Yes.
this. Don't hire a slut for a teacher. Substitute teacher arrested after Snapchat video allegedly shows her having sex with a student. Okay, don't hire dumb sluts as a teacher.
Thank you. I'm glad you added that one word. Made all the difference.
A Florida substitute teacher was busted for allegedly having sex with a teenage student who allegedly shared one of their trysts in a Snapchat video, law enforcement officials said. If your paramour has set up a camera or set up his iPhone to grade yourself, I guess, to grade the performance, you might think twice.
Doesn't surprise you that they're from Florida, now does it?
Ayanna Davis, 20, a substitute English teacher. She's teaching English. She was working on his oral dictation.
Oh, really?
Ayanna Davis, 20, a substitute English teacher at Lakeland High School, was arrested on Friday after she admitted having unprotected sex with the student 4 times, twice at her house and twice at the victim's house, the Polk County's Sheriff's Office said in a news release. What was... Anyway, I'm not going to go there. Davis's admission matched with statements made by the victim, whose exact age wasn't disclosed but was listed in a release as 16 years old or younger. Authorities launched a probe of the teacher on December 3rd after a student informed the school's resource officer that a Snapchat video was circulating that showed Davis having sex with a student. The video was reportedly shown to a large group of the school's football team.
Dude, you know why they were arrested, don't you?
Only she was arrested.
Oh, okay. You know why she was arrested, don't you? Like I said, unprotected sex. She wasn't wearing a mask. Thing is, there's at least a 75% chance I'm right with that. That's the terrifying thing.
Law enforcement officials have not yet been able to view the video, but are working on tracking it down. I know it's out there someplace. Yeah. Snapchat might be a first place to start.
Yep.
Look, folks. If you hire a teacher who's this freaking dumb, I'm not going to. And I'm also going to point out that in high school, right, there are plenty of hormone-filled male teens roaming around who have very little self-control thanks to the feminization of the male population, right? And would put their dick in a donut they saw rolling down the street, let alone a teacher.
Probably have. Come on, and probably have, let's be fair.
There are how many coming-of-age stories, all right, that portray having sex with a teacher as the ultimate goal of these people.
Yep.
Okay? I'm not saying that... I'm trying to point out that I don't think this is the ideas of when your minds are formed, all right, starts with what's right and wrong. Okay?
Hmm?
Is this wrong? Did she take advantage of the situation? Uh, yeah. Okay. Um, is it illegal? Yeah, it is illegal. Should it be? All right. To be honest, this should be illegal, but not for the reasons they say. It's not because she's having sex with a teenager. Okay. Let's assume that the teenager is 16. We'll just use this on the outside, right?
Hmm?
The difference in their age is she's 20.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, technically, she may have been considered very bright. It's obvious that she's if she's a substitute teacher, she has some kind of teaching certificate, which means that she has probably some kind of college degree of some sort, right? Um, so she can't be completely gone. You know what I mean, right?
Yeah,
You
but
understand
let's
what
be
I'm saying?
fair, dude. She probably got a degree in lesbian dance theory. You know it, and I know it.
She was an English teacher, right?
I'll say nothing. Hmm.
Literature, right?
Hmm.
might have been pamphlet forming, but it's, you see the point, right? But you understand
Yeah.
the point. She's obviously not unintelligent, right? Probably,
No.
right? She's stupid though. She's dumb, all right? Anybody who's
Mhm.
in this day and age, look, if you're allowing anybody with a camera near you, right? You have to understand that you're subject at that point of being out on the internet.
Yes.
And if some dumbass sits up there and sets up a webcam or sets up a freaking you know a phone, you know,
Mhm.
and you allow it to happen, you're an idiot. You're an idiot. Okay, you made a bad life choice. But when we talk about this, did she take advantage of the situation? All right. In this case, the reason it should be illegal is because there is an obvious appearance of impropriety. All right, in that she could have, she's supposed to be in a teaching position, right? There's an obvious issue here, right? You see my point? That's what
Yeah.
should be illegal, okay? Not the fact that she's sleeping with a teenage boy. Whether you like it or not, there is such a thing as a double standard. It does exist, all right? And the
Yeah.
world got along fine before people started to start claiming that we were all freaking cookies, all right? And we came out of the same cookie cutter.
Hmm.
Now you can say that a young man's mind is not fully formed until he's 20 something. Okay, you can believe that if you want, and it's probably true to a degree, all right? But that doesn't mean that they don't know what the difference is between right and wrong.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean that they don't know the difference between, chasing a donut down the street, all right, and keeping it in your pants. This idea that they can't control themselves, all right, or that they shouldn't control themselves has led to this kind of crap in our society. And that there shouldn't be restraints being placed upon these kids. Okay? In a lot of ways, I do feel sorry for
Hmm.
her. Okay? Now, that being said, she's as culpable as he is in this case, and yeah, she does it. But the reality is they both did something wrong.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you right now, that guy, her paramour, he knows it. He knows he did something wrong.
Hmm.
It's just excuse making. That's just, granted, it's my opinion, but excuse making. On to the next story.
Hmm.
35 hospitalized in Florida with severe bleeding after smoking synthetic spice. Are they sure it was synthetic spice and not shards of glass? I'm just
Asbestos. Hmm.
just wondering.
It would be a good cure if it was asbestos. You've got to admit that.
35 people are hospitalized in Florida. Surprise, surprise, it's Florida, right? For severe bleeding after smoking synthetic marijuana. that they bought from a local drug dealers, officials announced. The Florida Poison Control issued a warning after dozens of patients in the Hillsborough County began uncontrollably bleeding after they used the drug, also called Spice. Officials have not tracked the source of the outbreak, but believed it began sometime last week. The symptoms, which include severe bleeding, bruising, develops suddenly in a victim after smoking the drug and get worse over time. In some cases, it can be deadly. They presented a significant clinical effects like blood in their urine, spontaneous bleeding from the nose, easy bruising, and pretty sick.
Here's a clue, and Matt said it all really. Just smoke real weed. Seriously. It's no, right. Look, I know you're not a fan of weed, but in comparison, the things that can go wrong with weed are can be a bit awkward, but they're not that bad for God's sake.
I, how about
Yeah,
how about not do it at all?
that's another option. In fact, almost everything's an option except for smoking something that causes mass bleeding. Subtle hint: don't do it.
Um, yeah.
Yeah,
This is the problem with this crap. All right, you don't know what's in
no.
there. Okay, there are plenty of people who have taken drugs, right? Smoked weed, if you want, that were in for a little bit more of a surprise.
Yeah.
I had a friend of mine, Mike Pocket, who, when we were talking about drugs one time, relayed an experience that he had. Okay, and what it was is he was a occasional partaker of weed, right? And he was in college, and at a college party, and a friend gave him a lid, right? Which he then was one of those give him a toke, right? Toke on it and pass it along.
Hmm.
And he had a psychotic episode because it was laced.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, is that typical? I'll be frank. I don't know. Right? I've never smoked weed. I don't know. Right? I've never really felt the need necessarily to do it. Does that mean that there were times when I was drunk and I wouldn't have done it if I had the opportunity? No, I can tell you probably right now that I probably would have if the opportunity presented itself at the time I was in that mode. Okay,
Yeah.
but it never did, and I didn't actively search for it either. That's the other thing. Okay, that doesn't mean that I wouldn't have done it. It just means that just by the grace of God, I haven't done it.
Yeah.
Because the opportunity and the mode wasn't there. But at the same time, when you do something like that just to get high, think about what you're doing. You're telling yourself, I want to get out of my mind. All right?
Hmm.
I want to do something
Yeah.
that changes my mentality, all right? And lowers myself because I want to feel good physically. Right?
Hmm.
Well, if you want to feel good physically, go work out. Well, that's work, though. This is just a drug. Right? Well, this same guy that I was telling you about, he also had the opportunity to do cocaine, and he said he never did it, and I asked him why, and he said because I was afraid to be too good. I was afraid the high would be too great and I would get addicted immediately.
Yeah.
And that's the other thing about drugs. Whether it's alcohol, whether it's tobacco, whether it's anything else, there's a drug out there that if you take it one single time, you will be addicted to it. What that drug will be different for everybody, right? But there are there are drugs out there that if a person uses one single time, if you use that drug one single time, you will become addicted to it.
Mm-hmm.
That's something that your body, for whatever reason, will crave all of a sudden, and it's that craving that'll drive you, right? And if kicking an addiction is something that's very, very difficult to do, as you well know, right? As anybody who's tried to kick an addiction knows kicking an addiction, even if it's just a habit, like a physical habit, like I always go to the store at a specific time because I want to go to a store. So it's not something that people get over very easily.
No,
Really,
but let's be honest here, okay? If you want to talk about three incredibly addictive drugs, I'll give you three, and I'll even name them, okay? One, coffee. Two, tobacco. Three, sugar.
yes,
They are exceptionally addictive
yes.
and legal.
Well, yeah, they are. Yeah, I mean,
In fact, if you actually mix all of them together, you get a good wake up in the morning.
yeah, but the difference is most of the time you're not out there endangering yourself for the rest of society afterwards. You don't see people coughing
And on
blood
the coffee.
and peeing blood the next day. Okay.
Again, dependent on the coffee.
I, I, I've had plenty of coffee. I've seen plenty of people have coffee. I know no one that sits up there and pees blood after coffee.
You want to try some of the coffee that we had basically when we weren't able to make anything else in Afghanistan. That's another matter.
I have a feeling that you had other substances rather than the coffee bean in that brew.
I'm saying nothing.
Just put it out there. All right. Jingle bells. Utah family transform home into life-size gingerbread house. Why is the first thing I think of is, come here, little girl and boy, come into the kitchen. Who's that nibbling at my house? You think of Hansel and Gretel, you know? Why would you do this? Utah home is drawing the attention of passerbyers as well as internet users after being decorated to resemble a life-size gingerbread house. This is the other problem. You know some little kid is going to rush up there and try and take a bite.
Yes. But that adds to half the fun. Come on.
Right? Virginia Hoffman said she realized a few years ago that a red brick home on Yale Crest area of Salt Lake City bears a striking resemblance to a Christmas season treats. So she started thinking of ways to decorate the home as a gigantic gingerbread house. Hoffman enlisted the help of her family to make her vision a reality. I told my family about it, and luckily they didn't think it was crazy. Or I was crazy.
Uh-huh.
Everyone else does. Just your family are a bunch of lewds as well. That's all that means. And so we painted these gumballs in the kitchen over Thanksgiving. And then my daughter and son-in-law helped me figure out how to attach them to the house. Hoffman, an interior designer by trade, and her husband, a professional artist, added vanilla wafers to the mix for this year's decoration. They're made out of foam insulation. And then my husband melted out squares on a soldering iron and they painted them. And they got the color exactly right to look like cookies. These heathens are going to have children biting into styrofoam.
Wow.
The yearly decor has proven very popular with the neighbors as children are rushed to the hospital.
What else did you say?
Where's Hansel? What do you have to say? Well, you should instead you should just put out the blow up things, right? You know, the little blow up Christmas ornaments or blow up things.
Oh, definitely.
Oh no! Guess what? A California woman captured a video of a bear cub brawling an inflatable reindeer in her neighborhood while the baby Bruin's mother watched nearby. Donna Hagrid of Monrovia posted a video to Facebook that shows a bear cub wrestling with a giant inflatable Christmas decoration in her neighbor's front yard. I looked up, and there it was, jumping on the reindeer. I was laughing to myself out in the street. I think I'd have been leaving because Mama Bear, you don't want to piss off Mama Bear, okay? Haggard said the mother and the cub are frequent visitors to the neighborhood. Oh, great.
Yay!
We see these two around all the time. They're trouble. And you were laughing about it? She said the bears often come down from the nearby San Gabriel Mountains and said the animals once broke into her home. They went through a window one time. There were scratches on the wall. One got up on the bed. There were paw prints. Don't feed the bears, folks.
No.
Don't feed the bears. If they're trying to take out Bambi, the inflatable Bambi in front of your house...
My food. Yeah.
At which point, you know what the mother bear's doing. Why did it get to Dublin?
Mm-hmm.
Why is my son so stupid? that's what the mama bear is thinking.
Yeah.
She's sitting there praying, God, give me perseverance that I just don't kill him for just being so damn stupid. Did it smell like a deer? What, mommy? It looks like... No, it didn't smell like one. What the hell's wrong with you? But it was fun. I got to bounce on it like a bouncy house. These humans are fun. These humans are dangerous. I'm telling you, these humans are dangerous. My son is going to be roadkill. Sooner or later, he's going to be roadkill. That's what the mama bear is thinking right now.
Yep. But then again, could you imagine what they would have done to that gingerbread house? The people would have come home, there'd been like chunks missing from the house.
There would have been.
And a very, very confused bear.
Caught on cat.
Let's take a look at this here. Since they did put out a video for it, we might as well sit up here and show the video, right?
Oh god, yeah.
And we'll get rid of the human as quickly as possible. We don't need to see that. Well, this is the damage done. Dun 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 dun. That's not Rudolph. Rudolph has a red nose. Right?
Yeah. Ah.
I mean, that's that bear is
Oh my god, it's literally humping Rudolph.
Oh, put the bear back up there. I want to see the bear. I don't want to see the humans. I want to see the bear. Look at her. She's trying to tell him it's not alive. She's trying to tell her cub, dumbass, what the hell are you doing?
Hey, Mum, I've got him.
I got dinner, Mom. You don't have dinner. You have a piece of plastic. Rudolph's pretty tough, though. I mean, this is either Donner or Blitzen because that thing's pretty doggone tough to be able to survive that, and not go all inflated immediately. So, anyway, that's all I've got for today, folks. I hope that you all have a good day, and I'll talk to you all later. Jenson,
Bye-bye,
you want to say goodbye to everybody?
Yes, I will. Thank you for coming out, people. And let's be fair, that was hilarious. And we'll see you all next time. Bye-bye, everyone. Bye-bye.